Hello there everyone, this is Imperatordavius, your Fedora Wearing Reshiram. Now some of you may not notice this, or for those of you who do, will find this a big surprise. Yeah, I know. But I am a Pokemon fan. Always have, always will be. Ever since I was a kid and played Pokemon Red and Blue, but that's a story for another day. Today's debate features something new. Pokemon gameplay footage from my matches in the VGC International June Challenge in the background. I'm going to be doing some videos in the future, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. No, what I'm here to talk about, even though I'm the only one talking about this in, this debate at the moment, so it will be kind of one-sided, is cheating in the Pokemon VGC scene. Well, while I'm going to be talking about this topic, I will try to look at both sides with the same level-headedness that I strive here to achieve on this channel. Now, for those of you who are Pokemon fans, I'm going to be getting most of my information from popular YouTuber Verlisify. So Verlisify, if you're watching this, man, let me just say, keep doing what you're doing. It honestly takes a lot to stand up and speak out against this topic, and those who do cheat and get away with it, and also take a lot of the heat and the hate that comes with speaking on this topic, which is why I have decided to also speak my 2 cents on this issue. Now, just to talk about the 2016 rule set for VGC, teams were allowed 2 legendary class Pokemon. To use 2 examples from my team, I used Rayquaza and Lugia for my last team for the June Challenge. In previous competitions, these Pokemon weren't allowed for competitive use, yet this year they were allowed, but only 2 per team. This format was meant to use powerful, restricted Pokemon that weren't normally allowed, and add a new twist to competitive Pokemon. One of the first things I've heard a lot about is that players used hacked Pokemon a lot during this VGC season. One of the first examples I'm going to use is the Wolfie's VGC's Raichu, which Verlisify claims is highly suspicious and very possibly hacked. I'll even leave a link in the description to the video in question for those interested in watching. But the Raichu in question comes from Italy, is an event Raichu, meaning it came in a Cherish Ball, and has the limited move Endeavor as its signature move. What makes this suspicious is that it has perfect 6 IVs from the PGL. That's Pokemon Global Link for those wondering what PGL stands for. And has the timid nature. Alrighty, that is highly suspicious. And I can understand why Verlisify says that this Pokemon is hacked. I've played Pokemon for a while now and am very interested in the competitive scene. And one of the things I have so much difficulty getting are event Pokemon with the right natures and or right IV spread. While I myself don't know the exact odds of getting an event Pokemon with the perfect 6 IVs and the right nature, based on my previous attempts to get even a single event Pokemon with 3 perfect IVs in the right places with the correct nature, have been very long and time consuming, testing my patience to its limit, as I often get good IV spreads but the wrong nature, or the reverse with a perfect nature but 1 or 2 IVs in the wrong places. However, thanks to my friend, a big shout out to Cosmic for finding me these odds for me, the odds of getting a perfect 6 IV Pokemon would be 1 in 1,7300,741. Oh, wait a minute, I read that wrong. 1 in 1,073. Wait a minute, did I say that wrong? Hold on. However, thanks to my friend, a big shout out to Cosmic for finding me these odds for me, the odds of getting a perfect 6 IV Pokemon would be 1 in 1,073,741,824. How is that even a number? Add that to the odds of getting the player's desired nature, which is 1 in 25, with 5 of them being neutral natures, alongside the aforementioned odds of getting the perfect 6 IVs, thanks to my friend again for doing the calculations for me, brings the odds to 1 in 26 billion 843,545,600. Someone get this trainer a lotto ticket. His luck is a lot better than mine. It took me 2 whole years before I finally won a Master Ball at the lotto in Alpha Sapphire. Now, whether this Raichu is legit or hacked is not what I am here to debate about. No. What I am debating about is why do people cheat and what possible reasons could even remotely justify the action. So, one of the first arguments made for cheating is going to be the classic one of, I don't have the time to breed hundreds of eggs for one competitively viable Pokemon. Well, first of all, competitive Pokemon is like other competitive games. It requires time investment, dedication, persistence, and self-sacrifice. If you aren't willing to make a sacrifice of some kind, you shouldn't be willing to do it. For example, professional StarCraft players in Korea spend at least 4 to 6 hours per day training, and 8 to 12 hours daily before an event, such as a competition or so. Also, to use an example, in the Pokemon world, real trainers would spend months practicing with their teams to make sure they were ready, because often one mistake led to a victory or defeat, depending on who made the mistake. So if you don't want to spend a few days in your week to breed for your ideal Pokemon, you should not be competing at that level of Pokemon. The next argument for cheating that people often use is, the stats are the same whether hacked or not. First of all, let me say that, yes, you're right. When you do it so that you make the stats the same, a hacked Pokemon is no different from a legally bred one. However, let me follow up that argument with a statement of my own. If you eat a frozen pizza that is store-bought, made the same way as a fresh one at a pizzeria, does the argument of they're made the same so it's no different really have value? Personally, I would rather take the freshly made pizza over the frozen one, as the frozen one is just the same copied pizza that everyone buys because they have no time to make their own. However, the one that is freshly made had more handling to it, so the ingredients used were applied differently to suit your tastes as you requested. Now, our next argument on the list goes from hacking Pokemon to hacked parents. And it goes, the Pokemon I bred from hacked parents is legit, so there's nothing wrong. Well, while I hate to get personal, but if you had a prostitute for a mother and a stripper for a father, does that make you a perfectly fine child? While the offspring may be legit, it was still bred through illegitimate means. The parents are still hacked, and therefore the offspring was bred through illegal ways. This ties in again to previous statements that I made. Are you willing to invest in the time for the Pokemon you want to compete with? If so, then you will go through the loops, the disappointed groans, the moans, the constant running around in circles for that one single viable battler. There is no gain without some pain. Our next argument on the list goes for legendary Pokemon. But before we get into those arguments, I'll talk about how legendary Pokemon and IVs work with them. Now, during your playthroughs of Alpha Sapphire or Omega Ruby, or even X and Y, you will encounter legendary Pokemon, such as Kyogre, Groudon, Xerneas, and Yveltal. These Pokemon are considered legendary, rare and powerful Pokemon that aren't encountered anywhere else. When encountered, these Pokemon have guaranteed 3 perfect IVs, whereas wild Pokemon and even certain event Pokemon have only 1 guaranteed perfect IVs. Depending on the Pokemon's purpose, legendaries will either specialize in attacking using their physical or special attacks, or both. For this reason, trainers try to get the IVs of their legendary Pokemon to match up to their ID or their desired style. And the minimum number of IDs most trainers try to get is 5 IVs. The odds of getting a legendary with 5 desired IVs is 1 in 33,554,432. Add that to the odds of getting your desired nature, and the odds of getting everything perfect rises to 1 in 838,860,600. While the odds aren't nearly as high as the odds of getting a perfect 6 IV event Pokemon, but they're still fairly high. Now, onto the arguments. Most people who hack would make the argument that they don't have the time to soft reset over and over for a 5 IV legendary with their desired nature. This again takes us to a previously mentioned argument of time investment. Hacking may be faster, but it's still illegal. If you haven't the patience or are willing to invest in time to soft reset for a legendary, the same way you would breed for a competitively viable Pokemon, then you have no business competing at the higher levels of Pokemon battling. I'll use myself as an example. The Rayquaza you see in the background is my story Rayquaza. It has a jolly nature with 3 perfect IVs in HP, attack, and speed. While missing the 2 IVs for defense and special defense, most of my opponent's moves were going to wipe him out in 1 hit, so those 2 weren't important. And the way he fights leaves him open for potential 1-hit knockouts. It took me 3 days to get that nature and those IVs to line up, but in the end my patience was rewarded. Also, just to clarify, it took me 3 days because I soft reset over a period of 1 hour per day, because that was all the time I could invest. The mere fact that he got 3 IVs in the right places is golden to me. I would have been more than happy with just attack and speed. Anywhere else for the 3rd was fine and dandy. Now, if I can invest 3 hours over 3 days simply get this decent Rayquaza that got me very far in the International June Challenge as a hobby, then I'm certain people who do this professionally can invest far more time. While I'm aware there may be other arguments talking about legitimizing hacking Pokemon, these are some of the most well-known and popular ones that I've been able to find up and dig. My next personal argument against hacking Pokemon is more of a moral one, rather than based on facts and such. Why would you hack a Pokemon and take pride in it? Where is the joy, the honor, the pride in patiently raising and training a Pokemon that isn't truly yours? The team that I'm going to list off is the one you see in the background that I used for my final VGC June team. As mentioned, my headliner and signature Pokemon is Rayquaza, the one I found through my story. While I have a legit event shiny Rayquaza given many months ago during the Pokemon or through the Pokemon website, I'll leave a link in the description so you can see what I mean, that has 5 perfect IVs and jolly nature. It isn't the same to me as my story Rayquaza though. That's why I used the story Rayquaza instead of this shiny one. My next signature legendary is Lugia. I had to soft reset for him for nearly 2 weeks because he ran out of PP and struggled himself to fainting so often, coupled with my personal restriction of getting legendaries into balls appropriate to their color schemes, meaning I kept on trying to get him in a dive ball, and it was just so difficult to capture him. As for his nature, he has a calm nature, and his IVs are in, HP, defense, and special defense. Despite the fact that he's missing his special attack IV, The spread is perfect for tanking and enduring attacks, and as far as special attacks were concerned, after 1 or 2 Calm Minds, Lugia was more than powerful enough to deal with anything. So continuing on with my team, I had to breed my Talonflame Chelsea with Adamant Nature, the hidden ability, and I had to breed in the Egg Move Quick Guard in order, to help deal with with priority moves such as Fake Out and Sucker Punch. But it took forever because the 2 parents, well, they didn't like each other very much, so it took me over 100 eggs and several days' patience for the IVs to line up. Chelsea doesn't even have 5 IVs. She's actually missing her defense IV and her special attack IV, but since my Talonflame was going to be very aggressive, defenses didn't matter that much. Moving on, my female Meowstic was my surprise for the competition, as I brought her in to dissuade Intimidate Pokemon. Similar to Chelsea, Nera only has 4 IVs in HP, Special Attack, Special Defense, and Speed. It's not perfect, but perfect enough for me. She was powerful despite often getting destroyed by more powerful Titans, such as, Groudon, Xerneas. She didn't last very long against them, but people, some people didn't know what or didn't expect a female Meowstic. So often some of them were confused as to what she would do. It gave my team perfect opportunity to either, set up or go on the offense. The only other legendary I had on my team was Zapdos, with its hidden ability, received as an event Pokemon alongside the other 2 birds, Moltres and Articuno. Like Rayquaza and Lugia, he only had 3 IVs, all in defense, special attack, and speed. I only needed speed and special attack for my strategy, so the defense IV was perfect for me. Didn't need much else. The final member of my team was Sylvester, my superior. Despite being bred and given to me by my friend, again a big shout out to Cosmic, thanks man for helping me out, but I trained my superior as if I had been the one who bred him myself. My friend made sure he had 5 IVs in all the right spots, and he even gave him the glare egg move. Again a big shout out to him for helping me. All that. This team took me probably over 2 to 3 months to assemble together in its final form. But I was persistent, I was patient, and I was determined to make the team the best I could. While at times I was ready to give up on certain members of my team, especially you, Lugia, you took me a very long time, but, the final result showed my effort was well rewarded for all the trouble I went through. So, all this comes down to my final words on this topic. Why do people cheat, and what do I personally think about them? In all honesty, and I do have to speak the truth about this, I can't see any good reason that could possibly legitimize hacking or cheating in competitive Pokemon. Perhaps you save time, but in the end, you aren't really a trainer. You're simply skipping vital stages of building a proper team, of training and raising them. It's the same thing as school. Sure, you may get a perfect score on a test that gets you into the next grade, but do you really learn from it? No, you don't. The team you may have that has hacked Pokemon weren't trained or raised by you, and while 2 Pokemon may be the same stat-wise and ability-wise, there's a distinct difference in attitude and personality when you use them. If any of these Pokemon were hacked, I would feel no joy in winning with them. But when I see them take on the big 6 teams that everyone copied just to, try and win, and my team pulls off amazing victories against nearly impossible odds, I take great pride in knowing I trained them, raised them, and my patience is getting them was rewarded for all the effort I put in. Perhaps if I had been able to compete in the World Championships, maybe I could have won with this team, but I do not know. And I do know this though: if anyone has hacked Pokemon or hacks Pokemon, they cannot consider themselves a trainer in my honest opinion. I mean, a real trainer finds a way to use his favorite Pokemon in almost any situation. They don't rely on cheated Pokemon or copy-pasted teams to be victorious. Now, this has been Imperatordavius, your Fedora Wearing Reshiram. I'll see you all next time in Tactical Debates. Bye-bye.